Shalom guys, it's Jeff from Pressure Luck. Now, some of you might know that I recently took a trip to Israel, which was an absolutely remarkable experience. I met some of the most wonderful people that I could have ever hoped to meet, and I also had some of the most delicious foods I could have ever hoped to have tasted. So guys, because there's this amazing food in Israel, there's so much of it, there's this one thing that I was always really into, and that was called shawarma. Now, shawarma is basically kind of like a chicken or a turkey or a lamb or all combined together, kind of almost like a gyro or gyro in a sort of sense. But the way I'm gonna make it is gonna be totally unconventional, because it's not gonna be like the kind you would see in Israel, like it's on a long spit where you carve it and shave it off, which is incredible. But because we are, you know, a little bit confined in our homes as to what equipment we have, and I don't think most of us have spits, we have to be a little bit more inventive. So what I'm gonna do is make this in the Instant Pot and make it all about the seasoning, okay? Because that's what it's really all about, is the flavor, and some really tender, delicious chicken is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna make some amazing chicken shawarma in the Instant Pot. It's so easy, and it's so incredibly flavorful and delicious. Again, totally unconventional, but you know what? When have I ever been known to be conventional? Guys, let's go to the Instant Pot right now and make some chicken shawarma! So let's get all the spices out of the way by just mixing them together in a bowl to begin with, alright? So we're going to start with 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1 tablespoon of curry powder, 1 tablespoon of seasoned salt, I'm using Lowry's, a half a tablespoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of black pepper. Now these last two things are optional, but I'm adding them because I like some spice in there. But I'm gonna add in 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes and a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Again, the crushed red pepper flakes and the cayenne pepper are totally optional, and you can use less of each if you want to, but I like this to be a little spicy, so I'm gonna add that in there. It's gonna add a wonderful flavor kick to it. And then just mix our spices up nice and good together so that they're nice and blended. All right, let's set that aside. I wanna take 1 large yellow onion and slice it up long ways, just like this, so we have nice kind of chunky little wedges here. You see? I also want to take 1 red onion and slice it up into thin strips, just like this. See how we have like a thin strip thing going on here once we cut it up? And just separate like that. That's what we want. So because we're making chicken shawarma, we want to prepare our chicken. I'm using between 3 to 4 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs, which I think is the absolute best cut of meat for anything that you want to melt in your mouth, which is perfect for a shawarma. Now guys, you could also use chicken breast if you prefer, but guys, honestly, thighs are the way to go in my opinion for this type of dish. So what we want to do is we want to cut them up. So there we have it, nice and sliced up into strands, just like so, trimming off as much of the fat as you possibly can. So now let's come to our Instant Pot and add in 1/4 of a stick or 2 tablespoons of salted butter, as well as a half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. So I want to come down to the pot and I want to hit the saute function and adjust so I'm on the more or the high setting. And now that the oil is sizzling and the butter is melted in the pot, I'm going to now add in our yellow onion that we chopped up and stir it around for about 2 minutes in there. 2 minutes is going to be just fine. And after about 2 minutes of the onion sizzling in that butter and oil, let's add in a tablespoon of crushed or minced garlic. And stir it around in the pot for about another minute or so. It is smelling incredible in here. Alright, and after about another 2 minutes or so of the garlic cooking with the onions in the pot, I'm gonna now add in a half a cup of garlic broth. Or you can use chicken broth if you don't have it, but you guys know me, they're better than bouillon garlic flavor. Amazing. I'm using a half a teaspoon of the garlic paste with a half a cup of water. Just mix that all together. And after we've mixed in our garlic broth, now let's add in our chicken thighs, along with that beautiful bouquet of spices that we added earlier. Don't you like that word bouquet? Don't you sound fancy saying it? Or should maybe I make myself sound fancy saying it? Anyway, stir that in with everything else in the pot. Oh boy, this is gonna be amazing. Totally unconventional shawarma. I mean, we don't have a spit, like I said, but it's gonna be something special. Let's get the lid on top and cook. Make sure we are in sealing position. Now I want to come down to my pot and hit the keep warm cancel button and then hit the manual button, and I want to go for 7 minutes on high pressure. Now that we're done cooking, let's do a quick release. And you guys know how this goes by now, right? And the pin just dropped, so let's take our lid off. And there we have it, some chicken shawarma looking amazing in the pot. Again, unconventional. Obviously, we don't have a spit to cut this thing off of, but I'm telling you right now, it's gonna taste amazing. And I mean, the flavor is gonna be just like a nice zesty shawarma would be. Now, we cook this in oil, obviously, and some broth, so it's obviously gonna be a bit liquidy, and that's exactly how it should be. I'm not gonna really go super heavy on using it as a sauce. It's more of a marinade. But remember, you can always save it for another time and use it for later, or you can pour it over things like rice or whatever you want the excess sauce. And even ladling it over my delicious Israeli couscous is a great idea too. Of course, you want to drizzle some on the shawarma itself when you wrap it inside of a pita. Delicious. So if you put this in the fridge and you have leftovers, it's gonna congeal pretty heavily, which is totally fine. Just heat it up and it'll become nice and liquidy again, and you can make more shawarma wraps with pita. So now what I want to do is I want to serve this up into some pita. So I have a nice big thin pita here, and it's going to be perfect to wrap in the chicken and all the other stuff we're going to put it with it. And I'm going to start with adding a little bit of hummus as a spread. This is an olive tapenade hummus. You can use any kind of hummus you want. You can even use my hummus, which is absolutely outrageous, but I did not have time to make it before I made this recipe. All right. And now I'm gonna add in some of that shawarma with some of the liquid in there. It's gonna make for an amazing flavor. I'm gonna add in some more chicken. I'm also gonna add in some of my red onions and some cucumber if you wanna chop some of that up and put it in there too. And because this is already a totally untraditional shawarma, I'm gonna add in a little bit of tzatziki as well. This is the tzatziki that I've made. It's delicious and healthy. It's from Greek yogurt. All right, so now let's roll this up. Make sure we have a nice tight bottom here. And there's our shawarma, all ready to eat. All right, let's try it out. All right, you see this shawarma? It's time to try it out. This is good. Oh, that's full of flavor. Wow. There's a familiar flavor that I've relied on for so many days in Israel. Oh, this is not a clean dish to eat. You know what? If your shawarma isn't messy, you haven't made it properly. This guy right over here is delicious. This is, again, completely unconventional. This is not your typical shawarma you would just see on the streets anywhere. It's kind of made on your own in your Instant Pot. But, that being said, it's not going to compromise any flavor. It's incredibly flavorful, if anything. And the shawarma combined with the hummus, and the onions, and the cucumbers, and the pita, and maybe it's some tzatziki if you want to put that on there, or whatever else you want to put on top. It's top notch. The chicken is so tender. It's the furthest thing from being dry. It's so easy to make right in your Instant Pot, and it's gonna really give you that flavor of Israel if you ever craved one, or the Middle East. And it's gonna be your own style of it. And again, this is not your typical shawarma you'd have off the street off of a spit in Israel, you know what I mean? I mean, who has spits in their homes? I don't know. But guys, this is really something very, very unique and very delicious, and has a wonderful kick to it, a great flavor. Guys, if you enjoyed these videos, go to pressureluckcooking.com and check out all my recipes. I have a ton of them. Each and every one has a video to go along with it. Go to facebook.com/pressureluckcooking and like that page for all new updates, humor, any deals that might come out, things you do not want to miss. Make sure you like that page. Oh, and of course, at Pressure Luck for YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, all that stuff. I got it. Guys, thank you so much again. And all I need in life right now is some chicken shawarma and a napkin. Thanks again.